official Lunga to break down that match between the Copenhagen Wolves and Alliance. Pretty uneventful, I would say. Just kidding. What a game by the Copenhagen Wolves. Let's take it back to the beginning, because as we saw so often from them, going for that late game comp again and maybe worrying their fans, are they going to try the same thing once again? But it was a lot better.
I was a little bit scared in the start when I saw the pick and bans, because normally when they play these late game comps, they play very aggressive, like we saw here, but more team fight based early on. They end up losing the team fights and therefore also lose the games. They had weak lanes. I mean, the Twitch wouldn't be able to do much against taps on the Cogmore, and at the same time, we had Ryze in mid lane against Orianna here. So what Copenhagen Wolves did was just swap them around. Put Woolite mid on Twitch here, completely surprised Alliance, and then of course send Kaos bot lane to 1v2 by himself. A little bit weird, he could actually farm 1v2 against a Nami, who should be able to bubble him on the tower, also with Ignite, and therefore try and maybe kill him or force him away, but he managed to farm pretty well. And overall, the pick comp then from the Wolves really worked once they got going.
But that's also the problem. You talked about the Nami in there. Nif wasn't there too much because he was too busy worrying about what the hell is going on in the jungle. Airwax and Unlimited were just non-stop roaming. And we talked about the wards earlier on. I'm going to jump straight to that one because the ward control. Copenhagen Wolves, they took down the tower early in the mid lane. Alliance just carried on like it was a normal game. They were just warding out the river. They were not focused on the fact that Airwax was in their jungle the entire game alongside Unlimited, and they were just ganking freely, non-stop.
The Fisho, as a support, what could Nif or any of the other guys have done to put the vision wards down or the wards down so that the game would go back in their favor, or is there no way at that point?
Of course there's a way. I mean, as Lee just said, don't put your wards in the river only once your mid tower is gone, because the enemy team is going to run into your jungle, and yes, you might see them run into the jungle, but if you don't know what they're doing in there, what does it matter? I mean, he could run to top lane, bot lane, whatever Airwax wanted to do, and it meant every time Copenhagen was, every time Alliance tried to farm or pick a fight, Airwax would just show up, turn it around, get another kill for the Wolves here. So it's a team effort. Everyone, they had to buy wards. As soon as you fall so far behind and you lose your mid tower early, everyone needs to buy wards. You need to place them inside your own jungle as well so you can see what's going on, and then just try and farm. Don't look for fights. Alliance did the same thing. They walk into the blue buff of Copenhagen Wolves while they're already very far behind. Nif got caught out of position, I believe it was, died instantly, and then Copenhagen Wolves chased them off, got 2 more kills, and I'm not even sure why Alliance were trying to contest the blue buff while you're already like 5,000 gold behind after 15 minutes.
Lee, talk to me about the performance here, because we did call out the changes that have been in the team, but Airwax and Woolite, Youngbuck actually mentioned, I believe it was Airwax, he just came up with the plan, but there's a big difference between coming up with the plan and actually executing it the way he did in this game.
Yeah, and remember, these guys are new to the split. They are only on their, 7th week now in the LCS. Brand new players, replacing, of course, Forgiven and Amazing, who's gone off across the team. Solo Min's doing fantastic over there. So there was big shoes to fill coming into this one. A lot of pressure on them. But Woolite, 11-0-2 in that game on Twitch. The first time we've seen him going absolutely crazy aggressive. He's played some good champions, and we were talking about how well he's actually been doing. He's got a great KDA. You were referencing it yesterday. He has now surpassed Forgiven in kills in the entire spring split. Forgiven's had 80 kills, didn't he? Now he's already passed that as well. So he's doing actually a very good job. And finally, the rest of the team step up alongside him.
Yeah, let's turn our attention then to Alliance. Copenhagen Wolves, great game, but they still have a game coming up versus the SK game to see what they can do. On the other hand, Alliance, what was it, the Fisho, in this game? Was it overconfidence? Was it not preparing enough?
Well, overconfidence was definitely a part of it. And then really being surprised by Copenhagen Wolves being so aggressive in lane swaps and in the early invades where they managed to get an early kill on Froggen as well. I think Alliance just went into the game saying, you know what, we just standard lanes, we just farm up, we go to team fights, we win the game, move on, and that's about it. Focus on Fnatic later in the day. And instead, Copenhagen Wolves just completely surprised them, outplayed them on every single part they could, and just won the game. So overconfidence, definitely for Alliance. And they had issues against Copenhagen Wolves in London as well, where the game was like 50 minutes long, it was back and forth, they could have lost it. So I feel like they really need to make sure once they play these lower ranked teams, especially like the Copenhagen Wolves, they take them very serious and prepare properly.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we see in traditional sports all the time. The bottom team suddenly beats the top team and everyone's like, what just happened? Especially after they beat SK Gaming in 21 minutes yesterday. So just simple overconfidence, lack of preparation. I don't know what it was going into it. But of course, on the Copenhagen Wolves side, they can go into this game, nothing to lose. Absolutely play freely. And maybe that's what they need to do in the next match, of course, against SK Gaming. You heard Youngbuck talking about it. They're pretty confident right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know what it is. It's the EU LCS, and we love it. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. And now we're going to send it back over to Joe and a quick shot.